actually have a special segment inside the podcast where we got the chance to sit down with Shiz from the Ghostchain community earlier. We brought him in. This is a recommendation from Slick and part of the Ghostchain community. And the first time we're ever getting to talk to an actual community member inside of a project. Tonight, we're joined by Shiz from the Ghostchain community. Shiz, welcome on.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Super excited. Slick was
different.
Pushing for this.
Way different than our normal actual guests that we have inside the show. It's usually a project creator or doing a sit down or something like this. So I think this is the first segment where we're introducing it into the actual podcast itself. And I'm sure this will be its own standalone clip. So you were recommended highly from Slick, who's definitely a big member inside the Ghostchain community to kind of represent tonight. So no need to put you onto the spot, but we're excited to talk to you, man.
No pressure. I really appreciate it. Excited.
Definitely
it's an honor to be your first.
Kicking off a good community segment, kind of getting to interact with people from the community. Ghostchain's one of the best ones to start with for sure. So I'm glad we were able to set this up.
Yeah, it's fitting too, because it's one of the first communities that brought us in, and
it is, yeah.
So
exactly,
definitely fitting.
Yeah. So I guess tonight, inside this little segment here, what we wanted to kind of get across is just talk to the community member. They said if you have some good inside info, or not inside info, I'd call it, but you have a good grasp on what the actual Ghostchain community is. You're heavily involved into it. You've been there for a while. And I wanted to kind of just introduce you in of, why did they choose you in this, and why did, basically, how did you get involved with the Ghostchain community? What was your exposure into it, and why are you so confident that it's going to be a game changer here in the future?
Yeah, sure. So I still remember when it happened. I was scrolling through my old Discord messages, and I can't believe it was only in October. It's been 5 months, right? But in NFTs, it feels like clays were when we were kids, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
It feels like I remember pixels minting. I'm like, wow, but that was 4 months ago,
Yeah. It's like Titanic. I was there 80 years ago.
That's what it felt like. And I was trying to see when did I join Ghostchain, and it was Slick. He messaged me because we were both in the Entheos Discord at the time. And he's like, you seem really active in Entheos, and I have a good project here that I think you'd be interested in. And, he shared the white paper, and he gave me my first ghost. So that's kind of how I got introduced to Ghostchain. And once I started reading the white paper, at the time, it was Soul Token. Well, Soul Token wasn't there at the time, but, profit share, marketplace. And at the time, all we had was CNFT.io, right? And we all know how that went. I pretty much got banned from their Discord. So, I'm like, a marketplace with the profit share, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And the art was really cool too. So I had nothing to lose at the time. So that's really my intro to, Ghostchain.
So on Mint Day out there, so Slick seems to be always the guy who introduces and gets people into the project. I know that he was that way for us once he found us. He's like, hey guys, let me get you into the project. It's like the ambassador that kind of, segues and gets everybody here. So you weren't there on Mint Day. Slick was somebody who got you in, or were you actually there minting ghosts on the launch?
Yeah, so he got me in a little bit before. The ghost he gave me was a pre public mint ghost. So I minted about 130 or so ghosts.
Damn,
you guys are confident then inside of this project, huh? That's one thing that I've noticed about talking to a few members inside the community is that they didn't just mint a couple of them and see how it went. You guys DJing hard into this thing, and
I love it.
And most people, it was not even on their radar at that time. I know me, I think it was around the Halloween time. I had saw another ghost project kind of coming out, and I didn't put anything together other than, okay, here's another thing. I skipped right over it, and obviously that was a big mistake on my end. But we're here now. So one thing I wanted to kind of bring up here, or at least one of the first topics, is Ghostchain seem to have ghost hands or diamond hands, some of the the craziest lowest listing percentages inside of the CNFT space, and that's for good reason here. Most of the stuff that I wanted to kind of bring up with you guys and ask you is what really is the differentiator for you guys in this Ghostchain community? What sets it apart, compared to what these other projects are? And then how does Freeroam kind of tie into that?
Yeah, sure. And so, you mentioned it. So the available supply varies between about 120 and 150 over the past month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when you have a lot of early investors who saw the vision, saw the white paper, saw that, this was all planned out. This was a marketplace before marketplace was a buzzword. This was a metaverse component before metaverse was a buzzword, right? This was all planned in the white paper months ago. And so when you have a lot of people who had that early on conviction and they have a low cost basis, right? They minted them for 35 to 50 ADA. Now the floor is 600, 700. But the reason why they bought them to begin with was because of the profit share.
Right.
It was because, and so when you have that sort of incentive to hold, you start to see that available supply. And, so people either believe in the project or they don't. I was talking to somebody the other day and they thought that ghosts were heavily overvalued. And then,
Right.
The projects that they're big in, I'm like, I think those are overvalued too. So somebody's going to be right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So with you guys, this is the 10,000 collection of these ghosts, and behind these things, the utility that's built into them, is that you get profit sharing of a marketplace, which is the freeroam.io. That we've heard about multiple times. And these guys are not, like you said, I kind of let you kind of explain this a little bit. From my understanding of it, as another marketplace, but it's not just a normal marketplace, right? There's so much more that dives deeper into it. And I want to let you kind of explain a little bit about what Freeroam is and how it, like I said, how the ghosts tie into that.
Yeah. So the number one complaint when you talk to other community members is that they just hear that this is another marketplace, right? Another buy, sell, another JPEG store, but there's so much more that they have planned. And obviously it's not going to be ready on day one, but what is the vision of the team and can they execute, right? That's the most important piece here. And so when you look at the differences in the Cardano versus ETH NFT space, there's some pretty obvious differences. And especially in the sense that you have a lot of people who hype up projects, you get a lot of flippers the next day, and then the floor bottoms out and and pretty much the project dies. And so the vision of the Ghostchain team and the Freeroam team, as far as I've been, able to get from the Discord, is that they're trying to change that. This is not just a marketplace where you're going to buy and sell. Their goal is to establish a new sort of CNFT ecosystem with a focus on the users and a focus on the developers. And how do you attract a lot of those people who are talented on the NFT space from ETH over to Cardano? And so they have a lot of creative solutions that they haven't really brought to light yet because they're still in development, and the marketplace space is very competitive right now. So why would they tell us what's in the works necessarily? But you sort of have to make that leap of faith that the team knows what they're doing, that they're also NFT investors, and that they're in this for the long term. So this is not going to be a marketplace buy, sell, done. This is step one of a huge, really a stepping stone towards the next evolution of CNFTs.
Right. And I think that most people inside the space, obviously they hear marketplace, they hear, okay, we got JPEG store now. That kind of basically is overtaken. We started with CNFT.io and we saw how quick, functionality inside the space and ease of use can quickly overtake, the first mover advantage out there. The CNFT, they were the monopoly at the time. JPEG store came around. And right after that, I think what the market share is now flipped to over 70% or, maybe higher now. That is all on JPEG store. Just because of that easy use. So I think what Freeroam, what's going to be the big mover that's going to take some of that stuff back away from JPEG, or at least give JPEG some competition, right? And Freeroam seems to be the one that, it has to do something different. It can't just be the same, right? Like you're saying. So I wanted to kind of showcase into this next segment here and let you kind of talk through it. Over here is the actual test net and the beta version of Freeroam is kind of out right now for users. If you want to go ahead and connect your NAMI over onto the test net, you can actually connect, or your CC Vault or Jero Wallet, I believe too, are the three right now that you're able to do that with. And this just kind of gives you an inside look of what Freeroam's going to be, what to look forward to. Do you want to kind of explain, and I can kind of walk through tabs here as you're kind of going through some of this stuff, and what kind of sets it apart from just another marketplace?
Sure. And so the overall vision here is that this is going to be a centralized hub for everything CNFT. So right now we have Open CNFT, CNFT tools, and we have JPEG store, for example. Here they have some features that are unique to a marketplace. For example, they have the calendar up top, which is interesting, and you're on that, upcoming drops. And the other unique feature that exists right now is that dashboard, where you can actually see kind of the floor value of your actual NFT collection.
Right. And this is, go ahead. So this is a game changer for me. Is one of the things that I love most about this is like, it gives you a good gauge into your actual wallet and kind of tells you where you're at, monetary wise, especially for some people who may hold a lot of NFTs.
Yeah, it's awesome. And they're going to have integration for token values as well. And so once you have this sort of API and this functionality, you know, you can kind of see where this is headed, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, and then the other piece of it, if you go on the collections, each collection is going to have their own page. So they apply to be have their own page, and they can maintain that. So it's like you have people who want to be artists, people who want to develop NFTs, but maybe they don't have the connections, the skill sets, or maybe they're good at, you know, maybe they're good at the art side, but not the minting side. Maybe they're good at, you know, maybe they don't have the funds to do their own separate website. And why do you even need your own separate website?
Right.
So you're going to have this own centralized place where people, you can work with the Freeroam team and have your own project page or minting page. It's all done for you. They're going to create that ease of use on the user side, but also on the developer and the artist side. And
Yeah.
so that's huge.
Wow.
So you're
I
gonna
like
be able
that
to
because-
actually mint for a project on that on their website then too.
I mean, I think that there's, I don't have any concrete proof of anything, but the vision here is that it's a one-stop shop for users and developers.
Right, because like you said, you built in, like you said, the projects can come in here and basically have, you know, as long as they're vetted and go through, you know, Freeroam's, you know, onboarding process, they verify, they're able to modify their page. You can actually see, like you said, the activity for, you know, basically like a normal marketplace. You can actually bring into like the likeness of, you know, people can like some of these listings out there, which kind of brings in like the, you know, some part of like an OpenSea, kind of like bringing some of that stuff in there. You have news where these guys can maybe link, you know, their Twitter or news or any kind of thing that they have going on. So you don't have to go away from the website itself. Like you said, the calendar view is basically, you know, all these other websites like One CNFT and all these other things. You don't need to navigate to another place.
Bouncing
And then
back,
even
tab to tab, yeah.
and even your analytics, this basically is now turned into OpenCNFT.io. You don't have to go there either. You can literally be all in one spot. I think this is what people, you know, the analytics side of this mixed with the calendar, mixed with the ease of use. You're combining everything into all in one stop shop, like you're saying.
Love it.
Yeah, and so the thing is, like, people want to talk about projections, right? Marketplace volumes, market share, and it's like this is ghosts are the only way to get a piece of the whole pie. Unless
Right.
unless you're gonna be up at 5 a.m. in another part of the world to mint any of these projects and try to, you know, get lucky and flip. I mean, you don't need to worry about it anymore. If there,
Mhm.
you know, if there's some sort of financial benefit to Ghostchain for the minting side of things, and then where are those projects going to be listed? They're going to be listed on Freeroam. So it's like ghosts make sense. And if you're long on CNFTs, then the only way I can see you kind of taking full advantage of the space is to be long on ghosts and therefore long on Freeroam. So that's my thought process. And even if they get 30% of the volume, I mean, that's still huge. We don't need 100% of the volume for this to be a good play.
No, absolutely not. And I think just to bring anybody else who is listening in right now and doesn't know exactly why you know, what ghosts actually do with Freeroam is that they actually are, like we've been talking about, is they share a 0.01% net profit per ghost of the overall profits of the marketplace. So like you said, if you bought in, you know, 130 of these things, right? Like you got a decent little chunk of the pie right there. I was at 1.3% of whatever that is inside that marketplace, or not 1.3, 0.13 percent of that marketplace.
For every 100, I think it's 1%. I think, yeah.
Right, or close to that. It's like 0.1. Yeah, but either way, you guys are getting a sizable chunk. So I've seen some calculators and stuff like that where obviously it requires, you know, the benefits of making Freeroam work is you got to get users here to be spending their ADA, and you needed to do something different, like we were talking about, outside of just being another marketplace. So having an all-in-one stop shop is definitely a game changer. And then, like you said, the ghost tied a utility to that. If anybody's actually curious too, you can actually connect either your NAMI or CC Vault, put it to the testnet mode right now inside of Ghostchain's Discord or inside of Freeroam too. They'll actually give you an address. You can send 10 test ADA to go ahead and actually mint a ghost. I did this earlier, so I was able to actually mint a test ghost right now. So you can play around with it. You can mess around with these things. Some of these people are able to list and do different stuff. So you can experience this dashboard right now and actually see, play around with it a little bit before it does launch. And I know they're actually onboarding certain partners right now to go ahead and do these test mints right now. So for me, this is a huge thing to be able to see kind of the vision, not just talk about it prior to you guys actually getting the launch out. So that was one big thing. I know one of the next things we wanted to talk about too, outside of honing the ghost, the other part of this with the marketplace is the actual Soul token, which is going to be Ghostchain's native token, Soul. I know we wanted to kind of quick mention this real quick. A little bit about utility, because people I'm sure have questions a little bit about this. Can you kind of give us a quick little overview of what Sol is going to be inside this ecosystem?
Sure. And so they haven't totally elucidated or clarified what the utility of Sol token will be. And I think that a lot, again, competitive advantage, right? CNFT.io had a token and look what happened. Like it's worthless, right? There's no utility.
Right.
So if there's a long-term vision that this marketplace is going to be a full ecosystem, maybe advertising, I'm not sure, but project launches and other things, you can start to see where there might be utility for tokenomics that comes into play. And they've drawn some parallels with things that exist on the ETH space. I'm not very, intimate with them, but I think they were mentioning how things like looks rare and the tokenomics on ETH is sort of the play, but maybe that functionality is more complicated in Cardano, but that's the vision and the goal here.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say that as it ties into, if you want to go up to that pie chart up there real quick, as it ties into the actual ghosts, each ghost has DNA, and the rarest DNA percentage is what's considered to be a unique DNA would be 0.01% DNA. There's a few of them available for sale on the marketplace, but the math on this, when we're talking about the airdrop here, there's 1 billion tokens, right? And so the airdrop is going to be 13% of that. So 130 million Sol tokens will be distributed for all 10,000 ghosts. And the amount you get per ghost will be determined by the DNA rarity. So if you have a unique ghost, 0.01% DNA, then you're going to be getting, we think, about 80,000 Sol tokens for that one ghost. Right. And then if you have a common ghost, that one is like 1 divided by 170. So, a few hundred Sol token for that ghost.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I know the backstory too of just why what the DNA has to do, or why ghosts even have DNA, is that Ghostchain, each Ghostchain used to have its own soul, and then when that soul passed, they were split. So you'll notice each Ghostchain has their own DNA, and some share with others, because if you had some get split into 10 different ones, and like you said, the rarest ones are kind of the one-on-one DNA, they have their own stuff, and like you said, that's the harder ones to come across, but they also gain more Sol tokens that will be airdropped to you. That's kind of the backstory for that.
And there's also, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's also, so in addition to the Sol token and the utility, well, you can see that we did the lottery and the airdrop is still pending. The details of, will that be all at once? Will it be over a year? I think it's going to be spread out over a year with snapshots. And then there's the public mint that hasn't happened yet. But the other benefit of holding a ghost for the marketplace is actually discounted selling fees.
Right.
So based on the rarity of your ghost, I think the standard seller's fee is about 2% for the marketplace. So that's pretty standard now. But if you have a common ghost, you get a discount. And if you get a legendary, the discount gets more significant as you get towards legendary. So I think the legendary discount, I have to double check. I think you pay like 1.2%, I think, instead of the 2%. And then there's also the hunt for the one-of-one ghost called ADA.
Yeah.
And if you hold that one-of-one ghost, then your seller's fee is only 0.8%. And that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and I know isn't that like a community event kind of thing to find ADA at some point? They're going to be doing that.
Yeah, 100%.
That's fun. So I think the big things to take away from what you're saying is Ghostchain is, outside of just being a PFP has a deep layer here built in with Freeroam. These ghosts kind of act as your token, your key into Freeroam to be part, basically. I mean, you're basically a part of Freeroam by, a stakeholder inside of Freeroam by owning one of these ghosts.
An investor. We don't like to use that word, but that's what you're doing. That's what it's almost like they crowdfunded, or, the project of getting a new marketplace in a way that they seem to see into the future. Like, it seems the things that they're doing seem so obvious when you see them on Freeroam. Like, why haven't other marketplaces done this? Any other investment app or anything like that is going to show you breakdowns of your portfolio and wallet and the changes every day. And the fact that it's all been consolidated into one place seems so obvious, but it clearly wasn't, because no one else was doing it until they came up with all this. So it's very cool that you guys were really believed in that part of the project to kind of get in as an early almost investor, but really just kind of crowdfunded to be a part of that side of things.
Yeah, 100%. And this is what they're willing to show. These are significant competitive advantages that are public, right? We don't even know who the team is. They haven't doxed, and they keep a lot of their, their cards close to their chest. And this is just what they're willing to show early on. And I agree with you.
And I think the big thing too with them is that they're taking their time to do it right. They're not just pushing it out just to get it out right now. I know originally, the roadmap was hoping to have this stuff already out. A lot of, all this marketplace is going to be ready to go. I know they've kind of continued to push that back a little bit just to get it right, because I think they picked up more devs or something, wasn't it, onto the team. Then they kind of dialed it back a little bit to get it ready.
Yeah, they weren't. They're doing a lot of things in the background, from the business perspective that I'm not privy to, obviously. And the other interesting thing too about this is that the devs don't care what the floor price of the ghosts are. They have no skin in the game, right? And they also didn't reserve any ghosts for themselves, but they did reserve soul token for themselves. So it's like they're fully and solely invested in the success of the marketplace. And at the end of the day, the ghosts are profit share. Like, it really doesn't matter to them necessarily, right?
Right.
But when you see that their long-term vision here is improving the CNFT adoption for the users and the developers, like, the ghosts are just a nice benefit. Like, this is an awesome project by itself. The ghosts don't even really need to exist, in my opinion. It's just a nice perk.
Right.
And it's nice that they did this for the community to be a part of it. That's what really stood out to me.
Right.
Yeah, they could have tried and got funding for the market through some other means, or through their own savings, or fronting their own money, and letting us kind of get in on a piece of that is just like giving back to the community even more. Like, hey, we want everyone to be involved and a part of this and believe in it, as opposed to us just sitting back developing a market and then putting money in our pockets.
It's almost like we're the lenders, because when you buy the Ghostchains, and then now they have the profits to make this website, then we get the return back from the profit share.
Yeah, 100%. And they're super active in Discord. Like, they don't need to do any of that stuff. They could have got their money left and built their marketplace without us, but from day one, nothing is an accident in this project. That's the part that bothers me. It's like, you see these stupid little details and you're like, damn, what does that mean though?
Oh, yeah.
Me and some of the other guys spend like weeks looking at the DNA and looking at all the traits on the ghost. Like, why does Elon Musk have like a yellow shadow? Does that mean something? Like, stupid things like that drive you crazy, because these guys are super calculated. And you're depressing me showing this, because most of those are like my purchases, and I'm broke right now.
I was about to say, I wanted to shout you out as I'm scrolling through. I'm looking through the top sales. The highest ghost chain that's been sold for these legendary, the orange ones, is 8,500. Is that the Predator or the?
Yeah, it's Alien.
Okay,
or whatever.
Alien over there. So
the Xenomorph. Okay.
Yeah. I love how that was one of the things.
It's got the blood for its shadow. That's pretty dope. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That looks good, but I had to shout yours out because this is one of the ones that we've noticed inside. If you catch you in the Discord, the Ash over here. So we can check you out, bro. So you got in there on the 12th over back in December, or sorry, the 9th over in December. Hey, that's a dope one to have right there. I really like that.
Thanks, man.
Was there anything that stuck out with making these purchases other than their legendary? You just liked, the look of some of these things?
Well, at the time, I think that was a all-time high. It's just, I grew up like loving Pokemon, right? And that's the part about NFTs that gets me into trouble, is that it's like collecting cards without like the hassle of eBay and shipping, and there's no refunds, right? So you're good. So it's like, so that's the part that gets me in trouble. But I grew up with Pokemon cards, and then honestly, the selling point on this one was the number 9999, things like that. So it's the last legendary. So
I didn't realize that either.
I choose Boo. I like that. I saw that.
Well, I had to shout that out, Shiz, because this is obviously, if we rocking inside the Discord, this is where you're probably seeing your profile pic as of right now. But to kind of wrap this up over there, we really appreciate you jumping on and giving you a little bit more community insight into this project. And I guess the last question before we get out of here on this is, what can you say, or why is the Ghostchain community, for us, it was super inviting, and it was super fun for us to kind of just hang out in there, and you guys kind of welcomed us with open arms. And I know you've done that with some of the other bigger community members as they stumbled into the project. What about the community is fun for you?
It's just full of a lot of good people. And like, I think that I said it a little bit earlier, but the dev team is intimately involved, and they do give the sense that they really do care about the community. And so when you have a group of people who are diamond handed, they were in the project early on, and then they welcome newcomers openly, I mean, it's just a great thing to see. And then, so you just have a lot of good people who have been burned a lot in other projects, and they kind of found like a sort of home in this project. And, when people like you come, it's a pleasure, we love working, we love your videos, and we love, you know, a lot of things about the community. So
I got to say, one of my favorite things is you mentioned earlier how some people on the outside might look at Ghostchain and just say, oh, it's another marketplace. I don't understand then why the floor is so high. It seems overvalued. That's one of my favorite things about your community is it's very supportive and strong, but it's also not super large. It's very welcoming. It's easy to get in. You're not really overwhelmed. You can kind of find a place very easily because the wallet distributions, I guess, lower than what you'd expect for most like 10,000 you know, asset projects. So it's like a close-knit community. And then when going back to saying it's overvalued, what I love about that is that you guys get to choose your value. You set the floor together. Like it's, I mean, obviously there is a set floor, but I mean, as far as like your Pokemon guy, I mean, those are all something that you guys hold on to. You can value them at whatever you want. So there is no, like, to me, overvalue on those because the community is so strong. It's just like you said, I think 120 are for sale right now or something like that. So I mean, overvalued, you can only get 100 of them if you want to get them. You know, there's not like other projects where you can sweep the floor of 3,000 assets just sitting there. And out of 10K, there's, you know, 3,300 for sale. I mean, 100 is ridiculous.
No, I appreciate that. And I know we got to keep it short, but like you brought up a few good points. And it's like the common critiques of the project are that, again, the whale wallets. So you have a few small holders with large bags, but like they bought the floor up there. It's like and the floor is determined by buyers, not sellers, right? So people obviously feel demand at those levels, but the largest wallets haven't sold a single ghost yet, and they don't plan to. I mean, they could have bottomed it out a long time ago, but they're in it for the profit share. And the last piece I want to say is just, you know, there's this emerging trend in the space with DAOs, right? And everybody's doing all these DAO proposals and all this stuff. Like, who cares if a DAO buys 10 ghosts? Like, no one cares. Either we're right or we're not. But people get like pretty upset when a DAO doesn't want to buy ghosts. And I'm like, I don't really care because it doesn't impact my profit share either way. Like, we're not selling, you know?
You're not in it for the floor. Yeah, like the floor.
Who cares?
I mean, obviously, if the floor is 100,000 ADA, that'd be awesome. You know what I mean? I'm sure there'd be some guys that flip. But like, really, you're in it because you want to have the ghost in your wallet for the future profits from Freeroam. The floor is kind of irrelevant to everyone else. It's just nice to see the project succeed and see a good floor. That always helps kind of solidify, you know, Freeroam's place in the space. Like, hey, this is a legitimate project too. It's coming from another project that has a solid floor. It's not just some 15,000, you know, asset thing with a floor 7. Who are these guys? Like, it's showing a strong foundation. And then all you guys are so loud, whether it's on Discord or Twitter, you guys go crazy. And every post, it's just like nonstop. Even before this, I think I retweeted our giveaway that we have going on right now. That'll still be going on when this comes out. And I mean, right away, Ghostchain guys are liking it and retweeting it immediately. They're the first ones to jump on it. I swear you guys have like alerts for the hashtag on Ghostchain.
You guys are all over that stuff, man. Any kind of marketing or anything that's surrounding at the charts. You know, people inside the community, I think some of our most supported videos are the ones that we talk about you, or we featured some of the stuff from you guys. So we appreciate you guys just welcoming us into that community. I know you guys even recently invaded our Discord for like a day. It was just all ghosts just staying in there. So we really appreciate you guys and the support over there, and Alex and all the guys as they're continuing to build. So I want to do a quick shout out over to Slick, first of all, for getting us into the community itself, and then also for helping us set this up. One last thing I did want to go ahead and shout out while we're sitting here on the screen share, and before we get out of here, is we do have a giveaway currently going on inside the Freedom 35ers page in partnership with, not partnership, but I'd say in part with Project 2090. We are giving away an actual ghost right now. So that if you want to get in, your chance to get into Ghostchain's ecosystem, be part of this group. Hey, enter, go ahead, like Ghostchain, Project 2090, and as well as our YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. We'll go ahead as soon as we hit 1,000 YouTube subs right now. That will go ahead and be given away. I think we're right around 800, a little over 850. We got about 150 left to go. So that shouldn't take hopefully too long. And then the 2090, if you want to get into that project, which also has a cool collab over here with Freeroam. On top of that, one of the dopest pieces of artwork between the two that I know Slick and I think Shiz, are you bought into this one or part of this one as well? I can't remember what Slick was saying on these, but
yeah, we split that one 3 ways. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a dope piece of artwork between 2090 and Ghostchain.
So we're trying to do fractional shares before it's a thing, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I love that. That's another part. I mean, not to say that no other community members have ever done that. I'm sure there's some other buddies that have gone ahead. I wouldn't you know, claim you're the only ones, but it's just cool seeing that you guys met through the Discord, met through, you know, enjoying projects together, and then see these other projects that it kind of extend a hand, and it's like, let's all get together and buy this together.
Hey, that's a thought, boys.
You got your own DAO going, you know,
get your own DAO right there. So if anybody too over while we're here, you got Shiz, go ahead and give him a follow over on Twitter. We'll go ahead and make sure to link you guys inside of this. We want to say thank you for stopping on, as well as Slick. Go ahead and check these guys out inside the Discord. Go say hi, tell them Freedom 35 sent you if you're watching this video right now. Make sure to go enter this giveaway. Shiz, dude, we appreciate your time jumping in here. This is the first community spotlight we've had from Ghostchain, and dude, you represented well. I think you passed the test tonight, so we appreciate you having you on the show, man.
I appreciate being here, guys. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your night. Good luck on the show.
Yep.
Yeah.